So these are the NCERTs that we have to read for economy, okay, for UPSC. So I would suggest to give you to give more importance to the 11th and 12th standard NCERTs. 9th and 10th can be done, but give more importance to these three NCERTs, okay. So we will see what are the topics that are there. So this is your 11th standard Indian Economic Development NCERT. I really like this NCERT, love this NCERT very much because it is going to give you an overall image of our Indian economy. How India as a child born, how India, is growing from independence till now. So what are the initiatives that we have taken during the very, very, close periods of independence, for example, 1950s, 60s, etc. So what are those initiatives and what are the conditions that prevailed during that time and how it actually worked and where we are progressing now. Okay, so it includes a comprehensive content, like it is related to the Indian economy on the eve of independence. So how Indian economy was actually on the eve of independence. So how we were, what is the status of agricultural sector at the time of independence. So how was our industries performing and how do the services sector managed to support our overall national income. Okay, so we will have a brief understanding of the issues that was existing during independence and how we were able to tackle all the issues. Okay, so for example, if we take agriculture, it was a very, very poor state. It was in a very, very poor state, right? We have more than 80% of the population dependent on agriculture, but still there is no modernization. When industrial sectors are concerned, we have very few capital goods industries and we were importing large amount of raw materials required for the industries. Okay, so agriculture was not performing well. We had commercialization in agriculture, but food grains were not cultivated as needed. So we had problems related to food security and we were importing food grains from US. And we were forced to face so much of humiliations during the import, okay, and during the food crisis. It was during that period we came forward with Green Revolution. And it was in that period we have this planning, okay, 5-year plans. See, in this 5-year plans, we gave more importance to agriculture in the first 5-year plan, and second 5-year plan, we gave importance to industries and agriculture. Okay, so why we have different types of 5-year plans and why each 5-year plan had different kind of importance or agenda. Everything will be understood from studying this. So initially, we know that privates were not playing significant role in India, at least till 1980s or at least till 1990s for that matter. Public sector dominance was there. We know about licensing and all, right? So why government was so reluctant when it comes to private sector? Why the government did not allow the private sector to expand, allow the private sector to participate? But you see what is happening now. We have privates in space also. Clear? So that much amount of transformations and changes have been was made from then to present times. Again, it is depending upon the existing conditions. So in order to understand the present better, so why we have allowed privates this much and why we have this kind of development in this short period of time, we have to know the past. You have to know the background. Okay, it is because of the colonialism that government was reluctant to allow private players to have an upper hand, because we know that East India Company was a private company, right? So it came to trade in India, but then what happened? We were under British control. So because of that experience, because of that past experience, what the government did, they didn't give so much amount of space to the private players after independence, because government thought that we as a socialist country have to take care of the basic needs of the people and that cannot be given under the exclusivity of the privates. Okay, so these are the various kind of situations explained and why we had certain framework of planning and how this planning worked actually. So what are the positives of it, whether we were able to achieve all the targets of these 5-year plans or where we actually lagged. So all the stories will be given in this part of your NCERT. It is again very, very interesting and you can go through it. So here we have this LPG reforms. We know liberalization, privatization, globalization, right? So what is the background of having these reforms? So we didn't give simply much importance to private. So we actually lagged in investments, and government have to take care of all the sectors in the economy, mostly including the telecom sectors. So for which government needs investment, right? And we didn't promote exports very much. because of the past experience, we chose to remain quite closed. We opened up our economy only in 1991. Okay, so before that, we didn't promote exports, but unfortunately, we were not able to stop the imports. We needed imports for oil. We needed imports for raw materials to industries. We needed iron and steel raw materials for iron and steel industries because we went for modernization of industries in this planning period. Okay, so which needed again lot of imports. So in this way, we were not able to reduce our imports, but we were actually, not promoting exports also. So obviously, what will happen to the trade deficit? It will be higher, right? So it will again eventually lead to BOP deficit. So BOP crisis, we had some 3 BOP crises in this time period. So we have all these interconnections and stories, what happened in the past and why we are now in this condition. Okay. And what are the current challenges again being faced? So we know poverty is a very big challenge. So again, you will be studying what are the different types of poverty and what are the various initiatives taken to tackle this poverty then as well as now, and what are the results of those initiatives. Everything will be studied here. So human capital formation. See, this chapter is something about human as a resource, human as a capital, etc. So it is quite related to our employment, quite related to our social sector development initiatives. So again, it is important for the examination because you will be finding some simple questions, but yet tricky questions from these units, okay? And then rural development. So what are the schemes here for rural development? Again, it is going to be a comprehensive topic. So we will be covering this under multiple perspectives. This is again employment. What are the different types of employment that we have? What is meant by frictional employment? What is disguised unemployment? And what are the employment surveys that we do? Who is going to make the survey? And what are the schemes that are related to employment? Everything will be covered here. And this is your infrastructure. Again, very important topic because you can relate these topics from your economy NCERT in any answer that you write, because again, it is going to give you some perspectives to think on, right? So if we take this infrastructure, we can make use of this in environment answer also. That is how you have to interconnect, how we are making going to use it in environment. If you are rapidly developing your infrastructure at the cost of environment, again, it is going to give you problems related to sustainability and overuse of resources, right? So in that is where you have to relate all the topics that you learn from one subjects to other subjects. You have to link it with other subjects, correlate, and then make a proper answer and understanding. See, I told you we had separate topics related to environment here also. So what is the state of India's environment and what is mean by sustainable development? We have to learn sustainable development goals in economy also. From economy perspective, if you learn, see from environment perspective, if you learn sustainable development goals, you will see what are the goals, okay, what is mean by this pollution, why it is happening, what are the measures to control it, etc., etc. And from economy perspective, we have to see how much amount of funding is being made, how the developing countries are able to generate their funds, and how the developed countries are actually helping the least developed countries to deal with this. So this is just going to be the perspective. In this way, the perspective will change according to the subject that you study, but the concepts have to be related, correlated, okay? And then our development experiences of India. You can just go through it. Okay, fine. So next we have our 12th standard NCERT. 12th standard NCERT is again very, very important for your prelims. I would say 11th NCERT is more important for your mains because it will give you some understanding of the past and the issues that we had in the past and the initiatives that we have taken and their results. Okay, so it is again going to help you for prelims also if you take 5-year plans and all those things, but still I would say 12th is very important for prelims because every year we can find, I think, a question from this money and banking. Okay, every year you will have questions from money and banking. It is again very, very important. If you take 17 to 18 questions from economy, definitely you will have some 2 to 3 questions related to money and banking. Okay, and this again, this 12th standard NCERT have to be read selectively. Say, for example, in this unit, we will just study what is meant by law of demand, what is law of supply, etc. Okay, and nothing in detail in this unit. But the first unit is again, it is about how macroeconomics emerged as a concept So you have to just find the difference between macroeconomy, microeconomy, that's it. For your prelims perspective, this is becoming again important. So what are the concepts that you have in macroeconomics? So what is mean by national income? What are the different methods in which we determine our national income? So these are the areas where you will be getting questions. So go give more importance to these areas. So see the multiplier mechanism. If you take the previous year questions, definitely you can find some 4 to 5 questions from this money multiplier in the last 10-15 years. And UPSC also have this habit of repeating the same question again and again, right? So I think multiplier question is often getting repeated. So give more importance to that. What does mean by M1 money? What is M2 money, etc. So obviously we will learn each of these topics in detail in the classes. Just I'm giving you an overview of what is the content that you will be studying under each heads. Okay, good. Now, this is again very important, government budget. Okay, so in this you will be studying what are the different types of budget that is the government making every year. So what are the different types of receipts that we have? What are the different types of expenditures that we have? Okay, we know what is mean by capital expenditure, what is mean by revenue expenditure, and how the government is going to prepare its budget, whether it is a balanced budget or it is a deficit budget. So we will study all these things in detail in the government budget, and you have to link it with your economic survey. Okay, study the economic survey from this perspective. Okay, again, you can expect questions from this area also. And this is something which is important for understanding your external sector. What is meant by balance of payments? So what are the different types of accounts that we have under balance of payment? Balance of payment is simply, it is going to record the transactions of a country made by the people, households, firms, governments, etc. with the external sector, right? So in that transaction, simply to say the flow of goods, services, trade, labors, investments, etc. How much amount of money we were able to generate, that is our revenue, and how much we spent, that is expenditure. So this is again dependent upon the flow of goods, services, labor, capital, etc. So if India is a more of importing country, so we will have lot of expenditures than the revenue, and that will give you a deficit. And that is called as trade deficit, right? So we used to come across these terms in the everyday's newspaper. Trade deficit, we have current account deficit, we have capital account surplus, we have BOP deficit, etc. So in order to understand the articles and appreciate the articles that you come across in the newspaper, it is important for you to have the basic understanding of these content from NCERT. Okay, so again, it is like very easy to understand. It's not like the topic is very vague or economy is boring. It is nothing like that. What we have to do is we have to correlate it with our real life examples. Okay, so economy is a dry subject only, but I would say it will be very interesting if you are able to observe the concept and then visualize it and then try to relate it with real life examples. So for example, we have this kind of transaction with our neighbors, right? We will give some kind of stuff, say for example, dal or rice whenever the shops are closed. And in some cases, we will also get their help, okay? Help in the sense, they may be doing good with computer services and all. So if needed, we can ask that person to give service to a computer if needed. And then at times, we also see the neighbors fighting with each other and the third party coming in and solving the dispute. That is the same thing which is happening on the global scale also, right? So we are importing goods, exporting goods, we are giving some support, and we are developing on our defense also. Technology transfer is taking place. So we have to multiply it, or we have to visualize it in that way. And then economy will be a very, very easy subject. One thing, even if you're not able to comprehend it better, if you keep solving PYQs, if you keep practicing PYQs, if you are able to find yourself solving more questions correctly, that is again going to give you a motivation. In Edify IAS Academy, we are going to have more courses where we will be studying these topics in detail in the upcoming classes. Okay, so thank you so much for watching.